countdown to the last comic shop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, hey! It is now time for more creepy, spooky reading here on the Last Comic Shop podcast.
That is right. We are opening up the shop, but not to Universal Monsters of the 30s, but more sort of like David Cronenberg body horror of the 70s.
That's right, and we're keeping it open for the oldies and the moldies that will be put into test tubes and back to tanks and pseudoscience and phenobarbital things and all this other stuff going on in this story.
Phenobarbital? The stuff they put the combs in? Please, it was Wolverine cutting off a bear's head. Why aren't you leading with that? That's the headline.
Headline, though, isn't that a little on the nose?
Well, what's on the nose every single week is I'm the host with the most, Andy Larson. I'm always here, as well as my co-hosts, J.A. Scott and Chad Smith. And this week we are bringing back George from Shortbox Summary because we are talking about Marvel this week with J.A.'s pick for our Halloween season. It is Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith. Yes, that classic Wolverine tale of how he got his adamantium and then killed a bunch of folks.
But before we get to Weapon X, we gotta do my favorite thing to do, which is to introduce the cultural context of the book we're about to talk about. And what's really cool about your podcast is you're not reading sequential stories from 2005 to 2006 where all these answers are the same. We're talking about a book from March 1991. That was when Marvel Comics Presents issue 72 comes out. That is the premiere of this story. Let's start with Billboard Hot 100, just because I frankly think it's the least interesting. Number 5 for March 16th, 1991. I believe that's the same week that this book is, if not released, then at least dated for pulling from the shelves. That is All This Time by Sting.
Oh, the river flows endlessly like a something something. I like that song. All this time.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not a Sting guy myself.
The river flows.
It's a tantric wanker.
I just like when Sting glows, when orcs are around.
I'm a little younger than you guys. The only Sting on his own memory I really have is Desert Rose, which is just like a truly terrible song.
Englishman in New York is a straight up banger.
We just talked about a straight up banger. Go listen to All This Time. That's a great song.
I did like Sledgehammer with a dancing turkey.
It's not Sting. Peter Gabriel.
But I liked it. I didn't like any Sting stuff.
Yeah. You know what was really good was Informant by Snow. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
All right, 4? No. What was 4, John?
Shiki Boom Boom. Yeah. Number 4 was Coming Out of the Dark by Gloria Estefan.
11-year-old Chad doesn't have a lot of pop radio context, I guess.
Number 3 was Show Me the Way by Styx.
I know
that one.
Show me the way. That's a great song.
No, that's not the song. That's Peter Frampton.
Oh, well, that's a good song.
It came alive.
I don't know what the Styx song is. It's not Mr.
I did
Roboto.
before you started singing the other one.
It's not Renegade.
Number 2 was One More Try by Timmy T.
What?
Nope.
Yep.
Sorry.
Peaked at number 2, was at number 2 for 13 weeks.
There's the turkey and it's frozen and it starts to dance and the little legs are coming
that happened in 85 or 84. Stop it.
And then like a train goes around his head, right? Like that's the same music video?
No!
Right? Yeah.
What was number 1, George?
Number 1 was Someday by Mariah Carey.
You know what the best song on here was? That Sting song. That Sting song was great. I challenge all of our Last Comic Shop listeners, go listen to All This Time by Sting and tell me it's not a good song. Leave me some comments. I
don't need
the
to.
music left
Sledgehammer.
the music left a lot for me to be desired. Okay, Chad. You're gonna get us a copyright strike. You sound just like
Sorry.
The music left a lot for me to be desired. What didn't? I just want to talk about some of the shows that debuted in 1991.
Ooh.
If that's cool with you guys. So this is Home Improvement came out in 1991.
Full time.
Wilson
Yeah.
behind the fence.
Wasn't he actually? Didn't he actually kill a guy in real life?
Yeah. No, I
News to
don't
me.
know. I don't think so.
What is this,
I'm
true
like-
crime all of a sudden? Hold on.
I'm
let's
like,
get that-
yeah, sorry, I hijacked the show. This is a different genre now.
That
Another
is a
show that
good
came
one.
out in 91, The Ren and Stimpy Show.
Ah.
No, I think he did kill a guy.
Sure, yeah.
So, space madness.
A show that's very near and dear to me, Doug, came out in 1991.
Yes.
With Patty Mayonnaise.
It's
Yeah?
Skeeter Valentine, yeah.
Too bad Ethan's not on. That was one of his jams.
Oh, it's still
I
one
bet
of
he
my
has his
jams.
belt around his forehead right now.
Just quailing
Oh,
it up,
man.
yeah. And the Silver Skeeter. The Adventures of Tintin, which I believe was like an
Ooh.
HBO animated series. Incredible
Yes.
cartoon. Really good.
Very faithful to the original Bande Desirées.
Yes.
As we talked about in our Tintin episode, Scars of the Pharaoh, which you can go back in
Yeah.
our last comic shop archives and listen to.
Dinosaurs came out in 1991.
Oh, not the mama.
Not the
Not
mama.
the mama.
My
Not
favorite
the-
joke from that was they had a TV show they watched that was like a Professor Science show, and they just kept blowing up Timmys. And then the scientist was like, oh, we're going to need another Timmy. And I hated Timmys. It was so great. Just kept blowing them up. Take that, Tim.
Clarissa
Rugrats.
explains it all. Salute Your Shorts, Rugrats,
Rugrats.
Erie, Indiana.
Darkwing Duck?
Darkwing Duck was also 91. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid
Wow.
Television was 91. And Aeon
Oh, that was
Flux
so weird.
was 91.
Someone explain that to me. I don't understand how that worked. But
It doesn't end there. The Jerry Springer Show was 91. Maury was 91.
91 might have broken us as a society.
Maybe. There was also the Back to the Future animated series was 91. Basically, it was my first exposure to Doctor Who, basically. Like that was like what gave me the itch,
Fair
you know.
enough.
Land of the Lost was 91.
Oh, yeah, the remake.
That one.
Living in the Land of the Lost. I am a huge fan of both of those.
Man, what an incredible year for television, though. Holy smokes. Movies. I've got actually like a whole list of movies, and what's really cool is the tale of these movies, how long they were in theaters. So normally I just see the top 10. There's too many good movies. I'm going to like blaze through these. Godfather Part 3 was the 36th highest grossing movie of March 1991. That came out December. That came out 4 months earlier. Can you imagine today if a movie was in theaters for 4 months?
I've actually never seen Godfather Part 3. People have told me it's not as good as the other ones so much that I just never gave it a chance.
I've seen it, and I've seen the remake.
There's a remake?
It's just
Why not?
recut. It's re-edited. It's called Godfather Part 3 Coda.
Huh?
I didn't know that. I heard about the made-for-TV movie where they spliced together all the Godfathers.
That's good. That's good because they have a lot of B-roll and they put it in like more chronological order.
Now, you think it's weird that a movie from December is still in theaters. What if I told you a movie from September the year before was still in theaters? Goodfellas.
Oh, that's such a
Wow.
good movie, though.
Yeah.
Do you know that entire scene with Martin Scorsese's mom was like completely unscripted? You know, Joe Pesci and they're all going to come in and you just be motherly. Just say motherly things to them. And then Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta just played off of her. Like, oh, why aren't you going to find a good girl? Or why don't you do it? Well, I don't see you very often anymore. It was all unscripted. All
Incredible. Incredible. Number 27 is like a legitimately terrible movie, but I love it for one very specific reason, and that reason is Jennifer Connelly. Career Opportunities.
unscripted. Never seen it.
Have you ever seen a gif of Jennifer Connelly riding like a horse?
Yes,
Right, like,
now that I've seen.
That is from Career Opportunities.
Well, good to put two and two together.
She's from like a well-to-do family. She hates her life. She wants to run away. She bumps into some guy who works like the overnight job at Target, and they make a plan to run away together, and that's Target gets robbed. Like on paper, it's a great movie. In execution, man, that movie is just not a good way to spend 90 minutes. Number 25, Ghost from July the year before.
What? People love watching people make pottery. It was a very
No, it was 91. We didn't have a whole lot
There's
else going
YouTube
on.
channels of that.
exactly. You know, people
Kilns.
enjoy pottery.
That where Whoopi got her Academy Award?
Yes.
Number 20 at the box office from December the year before, Kindergarten Cop.
It's not
Not a tumor.
Down, Down in the mushroom forest where everything grows. Where? Anywhere. I don't know. Yeah, right? So, something like that was the book he was reading. I can't remember.
I gotta do one. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Who does he work for?
It's a charming movie. I genuinely like it.
Number 12 at box office. Genuinely, I'm only including this because it's one of my favorite movies probably of all time. LA Story. With Steve Martin.
Yep.
Like a surrealist take of him, like kind of going through a midlife crisis, and his car breaks down on the highway, and there's like a giant sign that just starts talking to him like it's God, basically just like reaching out to him, telling him like how to change his life and make it more interesting. It's like one of the funniest, sweetest, most sincere movies I can remember seeing. I love everything about LA Story. If you guys haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough.
I keep syncing up with My Blue Heaven, which was a Steve Martin story, but that's the one where it was Nora Ephron telling like Goodfellas from the wives' point of view.
Yes, not that one.
Okay.
Different.
Sledgehammer.
Number 8 at the box office, Home Alone, came out the November before. Number 7, The Hard Way. Number 6, Dances with Wolves. Number 5, this is where it gets interesting. This is maybe the best top 5 I've done on your show ever. Where every movie is like, I would leave this podcast right now and watch it if I could.
You are like setting the bar high here. All right, let's go.
Number 5, New Jack City. Number 4, The Doors.
He's so handsome.
He's so handsome. He did such a great job with that movie. I really hate. Was that Oliver Stone who directed that?
Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like. I hate actually everything Oliver Stone stands for, but I love Val Kilmer so much. I'm willing to forgive it. Number 3, Sleeping with the Enemy.
All right, refresh me on that one. Is that Julia Roberts?
Yes.
It sure is. Yeah.
Who's the enemy that she's sleeping with?
I cannot remember off the top of my head, and I just see the movie. But that is like
Robert
one of those. Like it was just
Charlton Heston.
Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. That's
Yes.
There was a live action tour, which I think was Michael Ian Black was one of the Ninja Turtles.
I just thought it was bullshit that they gave you other mutants in that movie, and it turns out not to be Bebop and Rocksteady. I was just like, what is this? Like, this guy's not a rhinoceros nor a warthog. Cowabunga! Super Shredder was okay. I did like Super Shredder. He was all roided up. It was good.
It was pretty cool. And then like what can kill Super Shredder? I don't know, maybe a building. TMNT 2, surprisingly good sequel for a movie that like I'm still shocked that how good the first TMNT movie is. Have you covered that on the show yet? Like, have you done that?
I don't know that we have.
No.
Oh.
It's a movie. We only have 4 weeks for movie mayhems. Come on.
There aren't like that many good comic book movies. I mean, you guys did. Wait, have you done Phantom yet?
No, we did The Shadow. Not the
Shadow, that was what it was. Okay, man, I watched Phantom for the first time not that long. Like, that movie is actually underrated. I think that movie is pretty entertaining. Number 1 at the box office, The Silence of the Lambs.
With the lotion on your skin.
Or else.
It's the hose.
Moving over to the world of comic books, I know that's what you guys care about most. Spider-Man number 10, Robin number 4, Uncanny X-Men 276, Deadly Foes of Spider-Man number 1, Amazing Spider-Man 347, Ghost Rider number 13, Green Lantern Emerald Dawn 2 number 2, Armageddon 2001 number 1, Batman 462, Legends of the Dark Knight number 18, and Predator Big Game number 1.
The one that jumped out at me was what Amazing Spider-Man 347? Yeah,
that's Venom with the skull on the island. One
of the best Eric Larson covers of the entire run. With the big slobbery tongue. Spider-Man skull thing.
Alas, poor Spider-Man, I killed him well.
Yeah,
right?
Yes. So.
I also have the Tom Brevoort 5 best comics of 1991, if you guys want to go over that really quickly.
How many times is it New Mutants? Or no, it'd be X-Force by that time.
None appearances on the list.
In any case, what does Tom say? What did Tom say? What are his top 5 comic books of 1991?
Tom says from 1991, the 5 books that were the best the medium had to offer. First one mentioned, Fantastic Four, number 352, which is the return of Walt Simonson to the book.
Yeah, no, Simonson Fantastic Four out. I thought he was talking about Fantastic Four after that, and I was going to spit and yell and scream, but no, Simonson FFs. That's cool.
Zot 36, which I guess was like the end of the run from Eclipse Comics. I am unfamiliar with Zot.
Boy,
but man,
he really loved Zot. Because that was on his list from when we did Secret Wars. He was talking about Zot. Huh. Zot's okay.
Who doesn't like Scott McCloud?
I love Scott McCloud as a comic book educator. Zot's okay to have it. Yeah. Whatever.
Listen, better than X-Force? I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
So we've got Flash 54 by Greg LaRocque and William Messner Loebs. I feel like this is like the last big run right before Mark Waid comes on to the title.
Maybe, yeah. No, that Mark Waid stuff is special to me. When Barry Allen comes back, and like that's one of my favorite stories in all of comics. Mm-hmm. But I didn't read much before that.
J.A., you've been really quiet, which is great because the next book is Harbinger #1.
That was a banger. That was a great...
How confident were you when I said 1991, his 5 favorite books, that this book was going to be on the list?
I hadn't clocked it. I hadn't thought about it because I always think, for some reason, thought it was 92. But you're right. It came out in 91. We actually covered the first 8 issues of that run on a previous show. I loved it. Your mileage may vary. Chad and Andrew were a little bit less.
I am honestly surprised more, J.A., that he would put Harbinger 1 over like what was going on at Solar at the same time. Solar for the first 20 issues is some of the best stuff out there. We'll cover that on an upcoming podcast.
Well, the first 10. We're going to definitely cover the first 10.
Heck yeah. Can't wait to listen to that. The 5th most important book from 1991. What else? Marvel Comics presents number 84, the finale of the story that we're here to talk about today. At the risk of teasing too much, can I read what Tom has to say about Wolverine 84? I have chosen to focus on Marvel Comics Presents 84, the finale of Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X storyline, but I'm really speaking about the entirety of that story. Largely on his own, Smith reveals the traumatic origin of the mysterious Wolverine and how he acquired his adamantium skeleton and claws. Far from being merely a continuity implant, Weapon X is an enthralling saga all its own, with Smith creating drama among the people working at the Weapon X project, even though we already know what the outcome is going to be. The story was rightly acclaimed at the time and continues to be a perennial bestseller in collected form, and Smith's artwork and stylized coloring makes the entire epic a singular affair.
Oh,
I will give 84 credit because that's the only issue out of the Weapon X run that Barry Windsor Smith does both the front and the back cover, as it's a giant Wolverine spread. But he bucks Marvel Comics Presents trends and doesn't draw the back cover. Instead leaves it up to folks like Dave Hoover or Rod Ramos, or sometimes people like Mike Mignola or Eric Larson. But I had been accustomed to one artist doing the whole cover spread. But no, Mr. Barry Windsor Smith, I'm real good at what I do. I'm only going to do the cover for the part that I want to do.
All right. Whether you like the fact that it's one of the awesomest stories of all time or the fact that you want to nitpick about whether he didn't do the front and the back covers, regardless, we've got a little bit of the 10-cent synopsis, a little bit of that tease of what was going on in 1991, and it is time to get to the full product. That's right. Weapon X.
Are you sure we shouldn't talk about how plump Firestar's lips are on this Eric Larson cover? They're too plump.
Jesus,
They're too plump.
Right back with Weapon X right after this. Sledgehammers.
Sledgehammer.
That was the peak era of lip smackers. She was just putting on lip smackers.
Hey, it's Mikey Wood, frequent Last Comic Shop guest and collector. And as a collector, I'm always in need of boards, bags, long boxes, and more to house all those comics. That's why I use promo code LCSPOD to get 10% off my orders at bcwsupplies.com. Not only does it get me a discount on BCW's already low prices, but I know using LCSPOD at checkout is another way I can show my support to the Last Comic Shop podcast and their continuing mission to bring fans together under that big comic book tent. So if you're in need of comic book supplies, head out to bcwsupplies.com and use promo code LCSPOD today. That's LCSPOD.
Greetings, ghouls and boils. I I'm the Ghoul Master, a loving homage to horror anthology narrators of yesteryear. Wait, I'm an homage? Why didn't anybody tell me? You'll hear from my agent about this. But first, let's get to the heart of the matter. I'm here to tell you about the new horror anthology, Memoirs of the Morbid, on Kickstarter in time for Halloween. Memoirs of the Morbid is a black and white homage to classic horror comics from the 40s and 50s, containing 5 self-contained stories by some of the best indie comic creators out there. There's that word again. I better not find out homage is an insult. Anyways, Memoirs of the Morbid is completely done and ready to go to the printer. So don't make a grave mistake by missing it.
And we're back, and today we're discussing Weapon X, which ran in Marvel Comics Presents, issue 72 through 84, circa 1991 into 1992-ish. Let's start off with the creatives involved. J.A., who created Weapon X?
It was primarily, almost entirely a one-man show. Barry Windsor Smith doing the story and the art and the coloring and the lettering, though he did get an assist from Jim Novak on the lettering. So I don't know if that means that they split it off or he did just some of the more action-y sequence whenever Wolverine is bringing his claws out and stuff. And the there was a lot of when people were getting slashed apart.
There you go. There's a lot of letters in here. There's computer screens, there's typewriter things, there's forms people fill out. Lots of letters involved. But anyway, so we're going to go with Mr. Andrew. Would you be so kind as to 10-cent synopsisize Weapon X for us?
Right. And you would think that this would be a long synopsis given how many issues it appeared in, right? But you got to keep in mind that, like, these weren't full issue. The comic series that this was a part of was kind of an anthology. So they had other stories included in these issues, not just the Weapon X.
Right. Traditionally indicated on the back cover, but that's the last time we'll bring it up.
Although it ran for 12 issues, it's only about nine pages per issue, and it clocks in at about 127-ish, around there when it's all said and done. But within that story, you got Logan, who's just guy beating up people in bars at the beginning of the story, and he gets kidnapped by this snively dude in glasses he saw evil for
I thought it was John Byrne. Sorry.
I thought the guy with the beard was John Byrne. I thought the burly guy was John Byrne. I'm talking about the bald guy that looked like
the guy named the Professor.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
The glasses and whatever. Anyways,
not Cornelius. Yeah.
for Experiment X, which he knows that he's a mutant, and obviously he's got problems with mutants, and he's like, they're subhuman or whatever. They're animals. We'll just inject him this adamantium to make him the ultimate killing machine. But we'll know that we're pissing him off, so we've got to also mind control him so that he won't attack us. And so it's mostly just like them really torturing Wolverine for some 12 issues until Wolverine just gets his just desserts and goes on a killing rampage. Which was in his mind? ? Until it's not in his mind anymore because he does it for reals then afterwards? I don't know. Did he really kill the bear? I'm confused.
There's no bear. It's wolves.
There's no bear? Wasn't there a big bear thing?
No, there was totally a bear. Yeah,
there was totally a bear. It was like this.
Yeah, he decapitates a bear. Yeah.
Don't make me more confused. I get it that this was supposed to mind you a little bit. I won't lie. And as somebody that read on this particular show, Monsters, I think there's a lot of similar themes in this particular book. And I think also what he wanted to do originally in Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner be the product of an abusive father. And I think this is really, there's like a common theme throughout all of these books, which is basically like, fathers are terrible. They like torture kids and make them into killing machines. And then they run amok and, oh well.
I remember Monsters making me really uncomfortable.
remember when they put the kid in the vat, and then they pull him out of the vat, and he's like all grotesque and ugly, and they put like American flags in his ears, and they're like wheeling him out and saying, "Oh, look at the greatest super soldier ever," because it's pretty much the same story. It's like they're trying to create a super soldier.
Yeah, but these guys don't seem Canadian. Like, my impression of Canadians are really nice and friendly.
I was talking about this with a buddy the other day. Canadians are very polite. That is not the same as nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, they'll pop you one if you deserve it, but they'll, cook you dinner afterwards and be real kind.
But let's get the rest of everybody else's thoughts on this particular show. We'll start off with J.A. because this is J.A.'s pick. So, J.A., what did you think of reading Weapon X?
I mean, what I love about it is it's as much psychological as it is physical horror and sort of what Logan is being put through. I mean, there are a lot of similarities you can draw to medical experiments done by Nazis, and who is the real true monsters? Is it Wolverine, or are the doctors the monsters? And then, of course, yes, the bear. I've forgotten the bear. I was confusing the bear with that earlier scene where he's attacking wolves, because he goes after a lot of different animals. Barry Windsor Smith reinforcing that motif, because he fights a pack of wolves, he fights a bear, he fights what I assume is a puma.
These people have resources.
It's a snow leopard. That's the worst thing about it. It's like an endangered species. They're like, what the hell? Bring it up here, let Wolverine slaughter it. Like, we haven't done enough terrible things.
Snow leopards are from Asia.
I didn't say it came from Canada. I'm just saying.
That's why I assumed it was a puma.
Puma, my ass. It's got spots.
It's not a puma.
What I love about it is this came out, as we said, in 1991. We're almost 10, 15, 20 years into Wolverine being a thing. So everyone knows what he will become. So even though you know the ending, you know what's going to happen. You know he's going to escape, obviously, and go and become the Wolverine. Still, you don't know what's going to happen to these scientists. You don't know how he's going to get out. There is this sort of impending dread. And also, most of it is not told from his perspective either, which I find quite interesting.
Oh, yeah. One of the cool things about this is this takes place in 1991. Wolverine had been around since when? The late 70s? His origin has not yet been revealed. And Barry Windsor Smith comes out with this story and gives a little bit of a background as far as how he gets his adamantium, but he still leaves plenty of mystery to Wolverine. I think Barry Windsor Smith understood that, especially when you consider what followed this, whenever they got to Wolverine origin. And, he's a small lad named James Howlett. Like, no, he's Wolverine. He's got claws and hates bears, wolves, and likes to be naked in the snow. He's Wolverine. He does all this badass stuff. He's Wolverine. He's going to cut you apart in his mind, and then he's going to find the door in real life and knock it down and then cut you up again. You don't mess with Wolverine. And Barry Windsor Smith keeps that pain. He keeps all that trauma, but he also keeps all that badass 90s action horror flowing through this story. And that's what makes this stand up today. Whereas a lot of other Wolverine stories that go too close or too far with the origin, they don't have that element of mystery, and they sort of fail. What do you think, Jay?
I think it wasn't a snow leopard. It was a Siberian tiger. As they say it in the book.
It does this really cool thing where it knows that Wolverine is one of the coolest characters of all time. And so because of that, it takes the focus out. I think Wolverine narrates the first issue, and then we barely get to see it from his point of view. We see what happens to him, but it's what makes Gotham Central such a good book, where it's a Batman book without Batman. It's what makes that Joker, Brian Azzarello, Lee Bermejo book so good, is that it's a Joker story, but it's not from the Joker's perspective, because frankly that's not interesting. If we can see inside the mind of someone, then there aren't really that many surprises, I guess. But you can be surprised when you see someone react to a character who has since become larger than life. I think this book, besides being legitimately one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen in my entire life, the colors, the layout in particular of the word bubbles, the way the word captions would like go around the art so they wouldn't cover up any of the interesting art. Like there's so much that this book does supremely well that it's like clear that it's just like one of the most professional people to have ever worked in comics got to oversee this book in its entirety by themselves. It's amazing.
Well, it's crazy to me that it showed up in Marvel Comics Presents, and like you get 8 or 9 pages of this, and then the next page is like a Captain America story fighting War God by Steve Ditko, or Here Comes Sunspot. Like before that, you get this brutal horror story.
If you want to talk about a period in which Barry Windsor Smith was firing on all cylinders and really putting out some of his great stuff, because I think we again commented on this before when we did Monsters on this show, is that Barry Windsor Smith is an incredible artist, but if you look at his body of work, he's kind of like Art Adams. Like there's only a minuscule amount compared to some other folks like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee, or you can look at issues and issues and issues and issues of their stuff. And so not only do you have this book coming out, but you also had his work on Solar, which we've talked about. He was doing Solar at the same time. He was about to jump on Archer and Armstrong. I thought of Machine Man 2020, which is another really great series. It's a cyberpunk story with Machine Man. You should read that. The way he draws spindly-looking scientists with glasses is so great. You just wanted to hate it. He was drawn in such a way and talked in such a way, like a pencil-neck twerp.
Those glasses were so like, I just want to break those glasses into your face.
Yes!
Like the entire time, yeah.
Keep that thing away from me. You'll be my monster, but keep him away. Because he knows he's like scared to death of this creature that he's creating.
Well, you saw why. He has little subs.
Chopped his hands off in more than one dream.
Last thing I'll say about this is some people have asked me why we picked this particular book for Halloween, right? We've got some other books coming up later this month. House of Secrets, Godzilla. We've even got one about witches and vampires and all kinds of stuff. If you want to talk about it from the perspective of the bad guys, the people that are inflicting all these punishments on Wolverine, this is a classic Base Under Siege story at the end of the day, where like they create this monster in this lab and then the monster gets loose and then it goes to hunt them down, which I also think is a classic horror trope. Plus, as Jay alluded to, all the Cronenberg. And there's that one scene where he's on the screen in his mind and he's just made up of all these pins. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, "Ew!"
Yeah, the giant weird skeleton.
I'm not going to pretend I understood every part of this book. Like, I thankfully started it early enough where like I got to reread it twice. Like, I had to reread it twice just to like make things more clearly. Like, when you understand where the book is going, like you can take more time with certain things that you didn't think were important the first time. This book is awesome. And like, this book is rad. And like, I feel so bad for making this a comparison point. But like the closest book that this made me think of was, do you guys remember Ronin by Frank Miller?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Like it really did feel like such like a transgressive piece of art. And like I think you mentioned it before, Chad and Andy, you guys were both talking about, it's so incredible this came out in Marvel Comics Presents, just like 9 pages at a time to just slap you across the face and then go to some other story that was like, yeah, this would have been cut from the annual, but we already paid for it, so I guess we'll just slap it in here and hope we get a full page count.
Well, I did want to ask you guys about the colors, because it's a very neon color scheme, and it was a little bit more muted in the issues themselves. Sometimes I would see like some European stuff where like everything's monochromatic, but then there are other times where it's like very bright.
I think that's a hallmark. I don't think it fits as well as in other things, but I didn't think I'd like that kind of color scheme in some of his Conan stories either. Like if you look back at Barry Windsor Smith's Conan work, especially the later stuff when he was starting to go off the book, not like the first 10 issues, but we're talking like issues 11 on to like, I think he dropped off at 28 or something. But long story short, that has vibrant colors. Like kind of neon color. You wouldn't expect that from high fantasy, or you wouldn't think you would expect it from high fantasy. It would be more akin to, again, his work on Machine Man 2020, which is cyberpunk. That fits cyberpunk. This, I just think it fits Barry Windsor Smith's motif.
It's interesting you say cyberpunk because this is kind of a cyberpunky story. He's a bit,
1,000%.
yeah, and a monster story. The last couple of pages when he's naked in the snowstorm and it's just lots of blues. But then you also look at the word bubbles and the choice of the colors they're pink and yellow and they really pop out from the blue of the snow in these couple of pages. But then you go 3 pages before, and it's full on horror and it's dark and there's lots of blood and red. It all points to this is one singular man's vision, from writing to art to coloring and to lettering, all coming together. There's something to be said about when teams come together and work really well together, you know, Stan and Jack or Stan and Steve Ditko, but there's also something to be said about when you have a singular artist with a singular vision putting something together just by himself. And I think this is a perfect example of it. No shortcuts.
To Chad's point about the color, did you guys read the trade paperback that has like the backup from Wolverine 166? That has like a flashback to this era of Wolverine done by Barry Windsor Smith.
The epilogue.
Yeah. It's clear that it's like Barry Windsor Smith doing the pencils, and it's clear that he's at like a different point in his career and like what he values is different. But like the colors are so muted and so 2000 whenever this book came out. It feels like it is not tonally in keeping with the Marvel Comics presents. And I think it's lesser for it. Like honestly, like it just doesn't look like the Weapon X story.
And it's not his coloring either.
Okay, yeah. So that's why it doesn't look like it at all. And it just feels like, okay, like it visually looks like the Wolverine you're talking about, but the panel layout isn't the same. Like the energy, the kineticism, like none of that's there. But the colors are like where it's absolutely lost to me.
And I was going to chime in too, just because I keep thinking back to the Wolverine origin story. Like as I'm reading this, my initial thought reading Weapon X was, wow, that's a lot of like, there's purples and greens and like the colors are, sci-fi and all over the place. And I was like, well, for Wolverine, it should be a little bit more muted. And then I thought about that Wolverine origin story where the colors are very brown and gray and very earth tony. And then what's so boring? Like, this has such an energy to it. Everything is weird and faint and foreign, and like, you don't know whether it's going to be a blue page or a purple page or an orange page or, what's going on. Like, there's something different all the time. They're throwing at you. As I went back and looked at it, the colors really are like a value added thing for me.
I mean, it feels so cliche, like, oh, who's your favorite character in Batman comics? Because mine's the city of Gotham, but like, it really does feel like that. Like, what's your favorite part about the Wolverine murder book? Like, honestly, it's probably the colors, man. Like, it just makes it pop and like takes some of the edge off, I guess, for like some of the most harrowing shit I've read in like a Marvel comic, especially from this era. But it also really dates it perfectly, both positively and negatively, right? Like this book could not exist in this fashion today. And thank God this book got to exist in some fashion.
All right. Well, we've got some more thoughts on Weapon X, and we're going to include those with our ratings as well as recommendations. So stick around for both of those segments right after these commercial breaks.
Bonjour. This is Geeky Old Hog, and I've got a nice little YouTube channel where I review the latest comics and occasionally bang on about the old ones. Why should you bother? I hear you cry. Well, I'm a published writer of comics. I had 6 shops back in the day, and I've been a collector for 50 years. Yeah, that's why there's an O and an L in the middle of Geeky and Hog. I'm clever like that. So, if you fancy it, reviewing the new ones weekly and then looking at artists and stuff, on the side, as the actress said to the bishop, everyone is welcome. Geeky Old Hog, all one word, over on YouTube.
Did you grow up in an alcoholic or dysfunctional home? Were you abused or suffered childhood trauma at the hands of a parent or caregiver? Have you tried self-help or counseling without success? ACA can help. ACA is a 12-step recovery program for adults whose lives are affected as a result of being raised in an alcoholic or dysfunctional family. To find out how others like you have found healing from traumatic childhoods, go to adultchildren.org. That's adultchildren.org.
Ooh, you hear that sound? Can only mean that Wolverine is near. Plus, ratings! That's right. Question to the group. Is Thwip or Schnink more iconic?
I thought it was snicked.
Snicked. Yeah.
Snicked. Fine. Is Snicks or
Well,
Thwip?
it's because when you pull a sword out of a sheath, like it sounds like a shink. Like it does sound like that. But I feel like it's very clearly and purposely spelled snicket.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe it's like when Wayne gets real excited and that's a swing.
Will you just answer the question? Better or worse?
I think snicked is a bigger deal.
More
and like that's
iconic.
funny. Yeah, and like I remember I applied to like an advertising school, like a creative school, and I like edited myself into a bunch of James Lipton interviews. That was how I applied to the school. And one of them, he's like, "What is your favorite word?" And I just went like, "Oh, thwip." Sounded Spider-Man's web shooters make, you know. But like, no, snicked is probably more iconic. But thwip is more fun to say.
I was gonna say I had a Thwip T-shirt in college. I'm going Team Thwip.
All right. Well, 1 out of 4 scale from J.A. Scott. What are we giving it this week?
I think you teed it up so effortlessly there. We're going to go 1 out of 4. Snicked. Ooh, that's not easy to say, is it?
All right. Let's go with George. It's the first time he read this particular book. What are you giving it, George?
I want to clarify something with you guys. Is 4, does that mean it's a perfect book to you guys?
No.
It just means it's
Of the highest recommendation. All right, then this
the
book
highest
is
quality.
okay. This book is a 4. Like I can't believe I had gone this long without reading this. And like respectfully, you guys are my comic book older brothers here. Like you got a couple years on me. I thought you would have like bullied me into reading this before for a show. This book is incredible, man. Like even if you don't like it, and there are parts of it that I really don't like. Like the finding out that like some stuff was like the VR stuff, that pissed me off so much. That is like my least favorite TV and movie trope ever. It's like, oh, actually, it was a dream. Like
Patrick Duffy. You don't like being Duffy?
I hate being St. Elsewhere. Like, what are you doing to me right now? Like, oh, all this, the hospital is actually a snow globe by the autistic child. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what were the last 8 years of my life for?
All of television is Tommy Westfall, baby. All of television. The X-Files, Homicide, Life on the Street. It's all Tommy Westfall.
That is literally my least favorite storytelling trope in all of fiction. They pulled it off really well here, where like that was the point where like they thought they were so clever and then they found out how they weren't clever. I'll be honest, like reading this book, I felt like I was reading like an Alien comic, like the Xenomorphs, like Ridley Scott Alien. Like everything about this, if you replace Wolverine with the Xenomorph, like how much sense does this book still make? Because I think this is an alien nightmare scenario. Like this is incredible. Like it's a 4 out of 4. Great book.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go a full 4 on this particular one. It's going to be very close. I mean, I'll give it like a 3.75. I love the art. I'm never going to ding this book because of the Barry Windsor Smith art. I think he's one of the most incredible artists on the face of the planet and has ever drawn comic books. So you will always get me reading a Barry Windsor Smith comic. I love them so much. But the storytelling, I think to George's point, the whole VR, the whole what is reality, what isn't reality, the fact that like, you know, he goes through this whole killing spree and gets his revenge or whatever, and then it turns out to be a dream. Like that pissed me off. The first time I read it, it pissed me off again this time, and I even knew it was happening. It's frustrating from a narrative perspective in some ways. It's gorgeous to look at, but because of it's just frustrating. So I can't give it a full 4. 3.75. I feel like everybody should read it. Don't go away from this show thinking a 3.75 means you shouldn't pick it up, especially if you're an X-Men fan. It's a hell of a lot better than Wolverine Origins, the movie. I'd rather you read this than watch that damn piece of shit. So,
yeah, but according to your rubric, it's only 0.75 better than the Fantastic Four movie that has been bombing at the box office. So, like, what?
I like the Fantastic Four movie. Screw it, Chad.
I think this book is it's an exercise in art that doesn't belong in Marvel Comics Presents. I think this is advanced comic bookery, and I think while I agree with some of your frustrations, I also think they're true to the character of Wolverine, who is a guy who had memory implants and didn't know what his past was and has this animalistic nature. And I don't know if you could have told a better Wolverine story than this one. Think about all the Wolverine stories that led up to this. You know, that great Claremont John Byrne, you know, defining of the character. You know, they've been a lot of times where Wolverine has been badass and, you know, had that berserker rage. It's defined things in a way where it's just everything was right. And this is a story that does benefit from multiple readings. It is a horror story, so don't come in expecting, you know, superheroes and capes or to find out why Wolverine's mask does that thing that it does, because that's not going to happen here. But what you are going to get is sci-fi tinged horror. You know, you read it, you're like, well, I didn't like that. And then it's like, well, no, that's actually that's the best way to do that thing. Or, oh, man. And I think all the stories that came after that didn't do things as well as Barry Windsor Smith did here. And there's a reason why this story is still pointed to as one of the greats. And so for all that, you know, it's for snick. Like, oh, and then you understand why the claws pop out and they hurt every time. Like you see the blood there because they put the blood in Marvel freaking Comics Presents. It's insane.
Yeah, I agree. It's a 4. In the epilogue to the 1993 Weapon X Collected Edition, Larry Hama wrote that this is not unlike a fugue, where the left hand is the writing and the right hand is the art. And I think we talked a lot about how Barry Windsor Smith bringing this all together and how it works. You follow the drawings as you read the words around the page. And I see your complaints about both George and Andrew about the dream sequences and was it real or was it not real? But I think, to Chad's point, there's a reason for that. And it's not meant to be easy, and it's not meant to be readily understood, because that's Wolverine at this point in his evolution as a character. What is animal and what is human and savagery still persists to this day with Wolverine, though not nearly as much as they did at this time. You understand now, you get an inkling, a small look into what creates that berserker rage that was sort of just a thing for a while, but now I think it has a lot of gravitas and grounding because of this. And as Chad said, it comes before a story where Captain America fights
War God.
Thank you. I highly recommend picking it up in a trade paperback so you can just read the story straight through. The newest one that they have out now, the 2023 edition, has some added stuff as well that we'll get into, including 5 or 6 pages of just the raw pencils and inks, which is really incredible too, to see how much the color adds to the story and what he did with the color when you're just looking at raw inks. Also, Barry Windsor Smith does not like people with glasses in this story. They are getting killed left and right. Carol Hines, the only one not wearing glasses, she survives. But Cornelius and the professor, man, they're both wearing eyeglasses and they both get killed multiple times.
Poor old Yukon Cornelius. Any case, we've got recommendations on this week's show, as we always do on The Last Comic Shop. These are other books that you can pick up in addition to Weapon X in all of its variety of formats, trade paperbacks, hardbacks. You can try to find some of the single issues, probably cost you a little bit of cash, given how popular this story is and how iconic that art is. But yeah, just in case you're also curious for other stuff, we're going to start off with Jay Scott, who I think was about to comment about something that was included in his copy, right?
Yes, I am recommending a single issue. You sometimes like when I do this, I just give you one book that I think captures the essence of what we've discussed this week. And this one totally does. It's also by Barry Windsor Smith. It's Uncanny X-Men 205. And this is the story of a character that first appeared in Daredevil 197 as Yuriko Oyama, but comes back in her fully formed character in X-Men 205, Lady Deathstrike. And it starts off with her going to the body shop and getting remade by Spiral into an adamantium and cybernetic creature because she wants to kill Wolverine. And what follows is a bottle story of Wolverine out in the city of New York being attacked first by the Reavers and then by Lady Deathstrike. It very much acts as a complementary story to Weapon X because she's gone from humanity to create herself into a killing machine animal, can't defeat Wolverine, and at the end she's like, just kill me, I've done all this and it didn't work. And he's like, no. He leaves her alive, he walks away, and he goes, you have to earn it.
Wow.
And if you get the deluxe edition of the Weapon X trade paperback, which is available now, that comes as part of it. So
there you go.
So I have a quick nerdly interjection here. Daredevil 197 is preceded by Daredevil 196, which actually has Wolverine on the Klaus Janson drawn cover. But Wolverine's claws are coming out upside down, and once you see it, you can't unsee it forever. That is all.
All right. Well, Chad, I mean, you might as well follow up with your recommendation. I'm sure it's not Daredevil 196, but I'll be checking that one out just to see this weird cover. But what's your real recommendation?
All right. Well, my recommendation also involves hunters, hunting things. And I'm going to go with a relatively new book. This came out in 2025. It's written by Benjamin Percy with art Marcelo Ferreira. I apologize, Marcelo. I'm bad with pronunciations. Flip shows up on like page 3 or 4. It is The Predator versus Spider-Man. There's a blackout in New York City. And don't forget, when you're talking about Spider-Man and you're talking about hunters, who else needs to show up? It's Kraven. But if you want a fun little horrific romp, Predator versus Spider-Man will scratch that itch for you. Real good.
And if you're looking for some more classic horror, my recommendation this week is an adaptation of one of those classic H.P. Lovecraft tales. That's right. It's not Call of Cthulhu, which is the most popular one around this time. It is my personal favorite, At the Mountains of Madness. There was a comic book adaptation done by I.N.J. Cullberg. It was put out by Sterling of New York a couple years back. And it is the tale of these explorers from the Arkham University who go down to Antarctica on some random scientific expedition at the turn of the century, early 1900s, and then discover that there was an entire alien race that lived down there fighting the old gods, giant mutant penguins, horrific alien amoebas that are gonna eat the entire world, and they flee just to come back and make sure that no other folks go down to Antarctica and find out the truly terrible secrets about Earth's past. But long story short, it's an amazing story, done even better with this particular art. I.N.J. Cullberg has a very almost Tintin-esque Herge quality to his art, where it's very crisp, very clean, very European. So it fits that early 1900s motif, but it's also a perfect counterbalance to the horrific nature of the story. When you have everything nice and clean and crisp with the white snow and like the immaculately drawn airplanes and all the British folks and New Englanders with their stout chins ready to take on whatever's going to be down there, and it turns into be something out of John Carpenter's The Thing, the body horror when they find folks mutilated at this one chaos. That counterbalance cannot be underscored and makes for a really, really engaging yarn. So I would highly recommend that you pick this up, read it by the campfire, get truly scared about the unknown and what could be out there. George?
I'm going to recommend a book that I don't think is very good, to be honest. And I'm sorry to do like some pandering self-promotion stuff, but recently on Shortbox Summary, I covered a book with a good friend of mine, Nick. He is from a podcast that I love so much called None of My Friends Like Comics. And we covered Wolverine Origins and Endings. This is from Wolverine Volume 2, the 2003 book, and this is issues 36 to 40. And this is the fallout of the House of M. And at the end of House of M, spoilers for that book, Wolverine remembers everything. And so he finally has control of his life. And I think you should read this book to understand how 9 out of 10 times something like Weapon X could be handled. I don't think Weapon X is unique in that like it tries to go back into Wolverine's past, but I think it's unique in the fact that it respects the past and understands that, frankly, the things it doesn't tell us are just as important as the things it does tell us. And I think Wolverine Origins and Endings very much falls into the category of like, man, Darth Vader is super cool. You know, it'd be really cool. What if we saw him as an 8-year-old? Like, I just like, I'm not super into that stuff.
But pod racing's awesome.
Let's do barrel rolls. That'll work.
Pod racing is sick. That scene is incredible for sure. I'm not denying that. And like the Naboo Starfighter is maybe the prettiest ship in all of Star Wars, if not. But I just want you guys to read Wolverine Origins and Endings so you can see respectfully to the creative team here. I don't mean to be rude to Daniel Way or Javier Saltares or Mark Tejera. It feels like they did it just to say they did it and that there was less intentionality behind it. Whereas like Weapon X just feels like the most thought out book about a subject that like should remain a mystery, and they did a great job of keeping it a mystery. And there's some cool scenes in Wolverine Origins and Endings, but like I said, I recently covered this on Shortbox Summary with my buddy Nick, so please listen to that for like an additional book club talking about a Wolverine book. But unfortunately it's not as good as Weapon X. But I feel like as I continue my comic book career, not a lot of books are going to be as good as Weapon X.
Right. One's a sting and one's a sledgehammer.
Jesus Christ. Andy's gonna punch you, dude.
Well, we hope that you check out all of our recommendations on all of our past episodes of The Last Comic Shop. And you can do that by going out to www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com. It's a terrific place where you can rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes coming up. As I mentioned, next week, we're going to be covering House of Secrets from DC. That's Mikey's pick for our October books, and the Vertigo one from the mid-90s. So it's all grungy. So stick around for that, as well as Godzilla Monster Piece Theater. That'll be Chad's pick, and then we're going to be finishing off with Sombra, the Becky Cloonan Tula Lotay 3-issue run. So, and you can also check out some of our past episodes, whereas we're going to be coming out with another one of our mega packs this month. All of our best episodes from past Last Comic Shop Halloween Spectaculars, 7 hours for your ear holes. Make sure that you checked out that if you're one of those extended play listeners.
And while we might be the Last Comic Shop podcast, we don't want to be the last comic shop. So we recommend everybody get out there to a comic shop near you and search out things like Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X, or like Uncanny X-Men 205 by Barry Windsor Smith, or things like Predator versus Spider-Man, the 4-issue miniseries that might be in trades already, or things like At the Mountains of Madness by I.N.J. Colbert, could also be available at your library or bookstore, or things like Wolverine Origins and Endings. And you could also, as a free plug, because we do that sometimes, listen to the episode from Shortbox Summary where he teams up with None of My Friends Like Comics to review Wolverine Origins and Endings. See, George, there are free plugs. And then there's
also merch. And this week we have a special on computer monitoring equipment that tactfully covers parts of your body when you're walking around naked so that your schlong's not waving in the air.
Giant USB cables, just giant one, slinging around like it's in case. But we also have that awesome t-shirt, right, J.A.? It's the Halloween season.
We do have the Halloween edition of the Last Comic Shop t-shirt. It's got some bats flying out from the shop. And those are not copyrighted bats either, just letting you know.
Jay, I like that a lot. I will totally be buying a computer that covers up my dong as I walk through the snow and fight off coyotes. I liked it a lot. The only thing I like more than that is reading comics, and the only thing I like more than reading comics is collecting comics, and the only thing I like more than collecting comics is taking care of the comics I've collected. And there's no better place to get bags and boards for your favorite, heck, even your least favorite comics than BCW Supplies. You can get all the bags, boards, boxes, frames, and more that you need to keep your comic collection in the best shape. Listeners of this podcast can enjoy 10% off their order with code LCSPOD. That is LCSPOD for 10% off your entire order. Keep it tuned to the Last Comic Shop podcast for the best in comic stock and the best in comic book supply savings, courtesy of BCW.
There you go. And until next week, when we have more spooky comic books for your ear holes. I was the host of the host, Danny Larson. I was joined by Jay Scott, Chad Smith, and the wonderful George from Shortbox Summary. Make sure that you listen to his show. It is tremendous. And remember to stay safe. Say sneak. That if you go as a pirate for Halloween and you have to buy earrings, don't spend more than a fucking ear. That's right. Oh, shit. I've been trying to say it all.
Nailed it.
I've been practicing it all fucking day. I got it written down on a goddamn Post-it note.
Perfect.
You know what the difference between a bad joke and a dad joke is? Just the first letter. I hate you assholes.
Shop podcast was a 2025 Black Angus production.